Hello and welcome back to Beaters, Drivers, and Survivors. And today we're going to be working on the 61 Buick Skylark that I'm standing in front of now that I've owned for like 16 years. And I'm embarrassed to say we've never really had a chance to enjoy this car. It's only ever driven around the block a couple times in that 16 years because of other projects, and that includes house projects and family and other stuff. So it's time to just try to get this on the road once and for all and to use it. So I was extremely excited last weekend when I was able to fire this thing up, and it actually ran very, very well after all the work that we put into this engine to resolve some oiling problems and other little things that were going on. So here's a video on that particular startup so you can hear how it runs. Big win today with the 61. It's running really, really nice. Also, the oil pressure issue is fixed and the engine's super quiet. I didn't even change the spark plugs yet or get rid of these ugly Excel wires, but it is pretty smooth even with the old spark plugs in that had really been fuel fouled. Now there are a bunch of items that we have to wrap up before we can actually take this thing on its maiden voyage to actually take a drive with it. And one of them is to resolve the tire situation. Now I did put wheels and tires on the front of this. They're 14 by 5s with 205 75 14 tires. These wheels came off of our 69 Impala. There are two of the original wheels that came on the car. This one, I did do a 5-lug conversion to this, and I will have to show more detail on that when I do an overview of the car so I can show you how I went about doing this. I did not buy a kit. This was done really, really cheap with parts that either I already had in my garage or that I purchased for next to nothing off of Marketplace. But the rear is still the 4-lug. It's a 4 on 4.5 bolt pattern. So what I did to take care of the back for the time being, because it's still the original rear axle, I ended up getting wheels for it, and that's what we're going to take a look at right now. We need to do a fitment of the wheels to make sure they're actually going to fit before we mount the tires. I apologize for any background noise. It is windy as heck here today in Pennsylvania, and you can tell by the way I'm dressed, it's pretty darn cold. Winter is definitely right around the corner. Here are the wheels that I bought. So these are US Wheel is the brand. I tried to get my wheel Vintiques like I have on the Chevelle, and I put wheel Vintique on the front of the Falcon, which I probably should have kept. Not the Falcon, but the wheels. And let me show you here what we're dealing with. I had trouble finding wheels that would not take forever to get here. The 4.5 on 4, or the 4 on 4.5 bolt pattern, not many people, it's not like a hot seller really. So I think that's why these just aren't generally in inventory. So when I was looking at what was available, I actually wanted 14-inch diameter wheels so that it would match up with the front, and then I thought, you know what, I can settle on 15-inch. I'll maybe get a 15 by 7-inch wheel. But everything was on back order, or since they're made to order a lot of times, they wouldn't get here. It's like it was after Christmas, and you know, right now we're mid-November, and I just don't want to wait that long. I'm running out of season as it is. So I ended up getting stuck with the only wheel, which is a good wheel, don't get me wrong, but it's the only wheel I could get, but I paid a little bit more because all they had in inventory were painted. They're powder coated black. So they're going to be probably a little bit shinier than the front wheels, but you know what? I really don't care just to get this thing on the road. I would have preferred just the bare steel wheels because then I just paint them the color that I want. But I had to settle for the black powder coated wheel, and then also they end up being a bit more money. But they are 15s, and the other thing was I could not get a 7-inch wheel rapidly, so I had to settle for a 6-inch wheel. And let's see what we got here. So it's a 15 by 6. Once I can get it out of the box here. Alright. So here's what we got. It's their smoothie series. I think it's a 510 series. Don't quote me on that. But it's a 15 by 6-inch US wheel smoothie series wheel. So with the smoothie wheel, if you don't know, what they accept are the derby style caps that pop on the inside. Well, I like dog dish hubcaps that utilize the bumps, the little tabs on the outside. So for now, I was going to rig something up, and I will show that in another video if I do go that route. But for today, let's just see if these guys actually fit on the car and if they sit within the wheel well the way I want them to, so that I can go get the tires mounted that I'm going to end up getting for you. Well, before we do any more, we better get the other wheel out just to make sure that that one's correct too. Not that we assume anything, but I did see something that I wasn't expecting. Pull this wheel out. There's a little box in here, and inside the box I have a little Christmas gift, and I had no idea this was coming with it. They send along a cute little, like a mini moon. Look how cute that is. Don't know what I'll do with it. Probably hang it on the wall, but came with it. I wasn't expecting it. Let's verify bolt pattern. Before we get things mounted up, I want to check the back spacing on these as well as the bolt pattern just to make sure. I'm sure it's 100% right, but it's always good to check. Yep, and we're basically right on the money with that. You know, a little off because of the powder coating thickness, but not major. I mean, I'm talking like thousandths off. But yeah, good deal. Good deal with that. And what we'll do is check the bolt pattern. Real easy way to do that. On my wall in my garage, I always have these hanging up. These are from those little tent sale tool supply people. I get them at either Hershey or Carlisle. And you just find your bolt pattern on here. This is a 4-lug one. I have a 5-lug. I also have metric. They're dirt cheap. I think they're like $1 or $2 a piece. And let's see here. Bolt pattern. 4 on, where are you? Oh, here it is. 4.5. 4.5. 4.5. So let's line this up. Yep, right on the money. Let's see if I can show you here. This is a multi-lug wheel. Unfortunately, with the 4 on 4.5, to get a steel wheel like this, they're It doesn't matter if it's Wheel Ventique, US Wheel, or an overseas company. They're generally multi-lug where they're 4 on 4.5 for one of the patterns, and then 4 on 4.25 for the other pattern that's on the wheel. I am not a fan of this style, but it'll work for this car. I really just wanted a steel wheel. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of aftermarket wheels are the lack of them being hub-centric, where your hub fits tightly within this opening. All of these are larger so that they're more universal and fit various different cars. But I do like hub-centric wheels, and that's one of the reasons why I put the 14x5s on the front here, because they are the factory wheel, it's hub-centric, and you just slip the wheel on, and it just stays there. When this one, what's locating it is actually your studs, and then as you tighten down the studs, you just have to watch it and make sure it's being centered. But usually if your studs are aligned correctly in your hub or your rear axle, it will center itself as you slowly put your lug nuts on and tighten things down. So let me see here, 4.5, we got this, and right there you can see, it's probably hard for you to see, but this is the 4.5, so we hit it here, hit it here, hit it here, down here. So, yep, we are on the money there. Let's do that again. 4.5, 4.5 there. Where'd the other guy? There it is. Right here, right here, right here, and there. So, that one works. Check this guy over here right away. 4.5. Yes, let's turn this guy. 4.5. Am I grabbing the right one? Yep. This one as well. Last but not least, we'll do a real quick check of the wheel width. These should be 6-inch wheels, so we'll come in here on the inside of the flange. Yep. 6-inch. 6-inch. All right. Next, we're going to make sure that these fit on the car the way they should, and then we'll go from there and get our tires ordered. One thing that's kind of quirky, there are many quirky things about early Buicks and other GMs, but there might be other cars out there too, but just from my experience, you'd think, okay, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? Well, on the driver's side of the earlier Buicks, it's righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. So the front, since I did my 5-lug conversion, I did convert those to a standard style stud. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But this one side on the back here, I did not get to do this yet. So that's why it looks odd. Pull these little 13s off of here. Now the tire size that's on here is extremely minute. It's a 165/80/13, which is only, I think it's a 24, I actually have it written down here. It's 23.39 inch diameter tire. It is super tiny, tiny, tiny. This is like the size of wheel and tire combo that would have come on the early Corvairs. So it's going to look massive. Like the front being the 14s with the 205/75 14s. Those are 26.11, I think, diameter. So they look massive compared to this. So what I'd like to do is put a similar size on the back. And I just so happen to have another 14-inch wheel floating around here that is the right lug pattern. This came off the Falcon. So this one will fit. It's a 14-inch wheel, and it is a where is it here? It's a 205 75 14, just as the front of the car. Now this one doesn't hold air, but at least it'll work for fitment. I can't actually bolt them down because this takes the type of lug nut that passes through the wheel instead of a conical style. So this is the identical size as the front. The only difference here is I'm just putting this on just to see how it fits at the wheel opening, not the interference on the inside, because this wheel here is only a 3-inch back spacing, when my new wheels from US Wheel, that's a 3 5/8 back spacing, so those will sit in further than this. These are sitting out further. And I'm not even sure what wheel width this is, probably a 6-inch. But I just wanted to make sure we were good here along these, the front side and the back, because this car was never really designed to have a wheel and tire combo like what I'm putting on it. So I feel good about that. Now let's put the new wheel on to see how it fits. Okay, you can definitely see it's sitting in further in the wheel well. Now the wheel is a 15-inch wheel, so my tire availability will be different than the 14 to try to nail the same diameter. So if I put a 205 70 15 on here, that should be a 26.3, I believe, tire diameter. So it's just slightly larger, but not much. I mean, it's not even a 1/4 of an inch overall diameter more. So I think it'll fit front to back. I just need to be real careful here. Like, I'm glad I didn't get the 7-inch wheel, because I have my emergency brake cable that kind of comes around here. So that could have caused an interference, but I do think I'm going to interfere on the back side here with my tailpipe, which I don't like this tailpipe anyway, and I'm going to do something a little bit different here when I get the car on the road, where I will do different exhaust here and have it poke down here, and I can kind of tweak that in a little bit more. So it does look like it'll fit, which is awesome. And the next thing to do is to try to get these tires on order. And what I'll do here before I order them, I'll just do a measure around the whole thing. I will look on the other side also, but the other side is much less concerning for me because I don't have the exhaust currently coming out the other side. So this is the side that had the interference. And I do have the jack stands underneath the rear axle so that the car is actually, the weight of the car is actually sitting on the spring, and I don't have jack stands underneath the subframe anywhere. So this is really representative of how it should sit in here under load. All right, well, that'll be it. The next thing is going to be ordering tires for this, and the next time you see this, I will have the tires on the wheels mounted, and we're going to try to do a fit and keep our fingers crossed. I'm sure they'll be all right. I'm hoping, though, the stance I can nail that because, as I mentioned before, tire sizes in this range, you don't really have a whole heck of a lot to choose from. And since I want to get close to that size, the 26.1 that's in the front, if I go down a size to a 60 series sidewall, then I run into the issue where now my tires in the back are significantly shorter than the fronts. If I go to a 75 series in the back, then I'm significantly taller in the back because of this 15-inch wheel. So we're going to try for 205, so that I have the same width in the front as the back, essentially, and it'll be a 70 series instead of a 75. But these are 15s instead of 14s in the front, which will get us into that that neighborhood, going to the 70 series in the back rather than the 75. Should get us into the same ballpark here for overall diameter. So thanks everybody for watching, and I'm getting excited here. I'm getting motivated to work on this more and more as we're doing the detail and the fun stuff. All right, see you guys later. Bye. Oh. Wait, one more thing. If you like the idea of beaters, drivers, and survivors, cars that you can build in your own driveway and get them running and driving without any worries about actually using them, please like and subscribe. On this channel, we'll be not only talking about the 61 Buick Skylark and my journey of getting this thing on the road as a driver, but also my one of only 300 numbers matching Buick GS 400 Canadian car, as well as my wife's 69 Impala Fastback, which is our latest edition. That's another numbers matching car that we're going to get on the road and use it as a driver. And then the one that's near and dear to my heart, the Boulevard Bruiser, if you follow me on Instagram, Nostalgia Street Strip. My 69 Chevelle, that was my very first car that started all of this insanity like 35 years ago. So thank you everyone for your support. Look forward to more videos. I look forward to making them. So take care everybody. Thanks again. See ya.